Gunner LPVO Odin series. Is it the best budget LPVO on the market? We'll find out together. Phil from having a blast with the USCCA. If you've ever shot an LPVO, you either love them or you hate them. Today, on a beautiful East Texas day at Secure America Training Facility, we have 25 to 35 mile an hour gusting winds. Now, we chose to come out here with this kind of weather to showcase the capabilities of the Gunner Optics Odin series LPVOs. The Gunner series is what we are considering like a budget option for the LPVOs. They both include an MOA reticle. The 6 power is a 34mm tube. The 8 power is a 30mm tube. Both of these optics are first focal plane, meaning that the reticle grows as we zoom in, giving us accurate marks for our wind and elevation calls. Length on the 6 by is 11.7 inches and the 1 to 8 is 11.1. There's 6 brightness settings on the reticle itself. The glass on these bad boys is German shot ED glass, 0 stop with locking turrets, and 1 MOA dots and hash marks for those of you that know how to make wind and elevation calls using holds. It is the perfect setup for that. And they have the 1 to 6, the 1 to 8, and a 1 to 10 line. We have the 1 to 6 and the 1 to 8 that they sent us for this review. We're gonna start with the 1 to 6 from 7 all the way out to 100, conduct a drop test at the 100. See if we're still holding the accuracy there. Then we're gonna move out to the 2 and compare it with this versus a red dot at those further distances. And then once we get all the way back out to the 450, we'll do all 3, the 1 to 6, the 1 to 8, and the red dot with the 3 by magnifier to see. And we will try to get this done and get out of here before the wind blows us away. See you there. Wanted a windy day, not this windy. All right guys, we are at the 7. We are losing targets rapidly due to the wind, so we're gonna shoot a high ready, low ready, and then a doubles to the head box because we're using a used target here. We still have to consider our holdovers, even with the LPVO. This is kind of where these optics struggle. They're really good at that 2 to 400, so let's shoot a high ready, low ready before we lose the target. High ready. Good hit. 131, low ready. Just low in the box, one more, 131 again. Here we go, low ready. 190, that thing's dancing all over. All right, let's go head doubles. One low, one good, 177 on the doubles. Holy moly. All right, let's go, we'll shoot the head box with a triple here. That was clean. 211. 211. So the one big issue that I find in LPVOs is that the red dot, right? So we do have a adjustable dot in here. It'll brighten that. It's really difficult to see. It doesn't really translate into a red dot on the Gunner Optic. So this, I would say, is not an ideal super close range LPVO, but once we start pushing back, we'll start to see that this thing tends to perform a little bit better. So we're gonna go back to the 50 now, and we'll shoot some high ready, low ready, and doubles out there. We talked about how these are really good at that like 2 to 500. So we're working the close stuff to see if they are applicable to close range as a red dot would be. So we'll go on the clock. High ready at 50. Time 1:57. Now go low ready. 1:43. Okay, now we're gonna shoot some doubles. .209. One more for good measure. There we go, 193. All right, now we're gonna work a 2-shot transition drill at the 50. Under 4, cool, 339. 339, awesome. All right, so we'll go back now. We're gonna do a little run and gun and work the throw lever here. So we're gonna start on the 6 power. We're gonna go standing 100-yard shot, kneeling 100-yard shots, then move to the 75, and we'll drop it down to the 3 power, take a couple shots there, then move over to the 50, moving diagonally, take a couple shots as we throw it to the 1 power on the move, and stop at the 50 and shoot a quick 3-shot string. On the clock. .69. 40.69. That's really cool if we're able to do that. We don't necessarily need the 6 power at the 100, obviously, but the throw lever on here, super easy to do. Some of these can get really difficult. This I can throw real quickly. Biggest throw is from 1 to 2, obviously. So I dropped it down to about a 1.5 on the shooting to move. 6 power at 100, it's a chip shot. 75 was good at 3. So on the move I can run and hit that throw lever right to the 3 and we're good to go. So you can utilize an LPVO for stuff like that. Red dots at 100, pretty much ideal to 250, 300. We can get away with those red dots. But it is nice if we're shooting more precision, like if we have 8-inch plates down there, this would be a lot better for that at the 100 in the 75. All right, folks, we are going to conduct a drop test on the Gunner Optic. Gun is clear and safe. 1, 2, 3. Shooting a 66% E-type out there, 100 yards. Cool. Held a pretty tight group there. So one of the things that we look for when we buy a scope, especially in this price range of like that $350 to $400, that's something that you expect from it. So good on them. Gunner Optics drop test completed, held accuracy at 100. Let's move back now to the 200 and see if we can shoot a couple strings out there with this wind and kind of work that 3 to 6 magnification. All right, guys, we move back to the 200-yard line now. We got the Odin 1 to 6 LPVO still on the gun here with the trigger cam. Now, the trigger cam is going to show you guys what I'm seeing as far as the reticle is concerned. We have a pretty strong headwind here. Fortunately for me, I will be able to hopefully hit some steel out there, but unfortunately we won't be able to use too many of the wind dots that are built into the reticle here. Still looking like probably a right edge hold, so we're So we'll start on the 1 to 6 and then we'll switch over to the red dot. We're going E-type, 66%er. Cool, so a little right edge hold, you'll be able to see it in the trigger cam there. We're able to take those crosshairs that are built into those steady lines and drop them where we want them. We're just doing holds out here, no dial for wind or elevation. And it'll play even more of a part once we get up to the tower, because up there it looks like we're getting a left to right pretty full value. So cool, we'll swap over to the red dot with the 3x magnifier and shoot that now. All right, folks, so now we've swapped over to our Vortex crossfire with our 3x micro magnifier here. Now the reason that we chose this setup is similar price point to pretty much in between the 1 to 6 and the 1 to 8. So this came in $299 for the 3x magnifier and then $150 for the Optic, giving us a grand total of $450. So pretty much right in the middle. We know that red dots out to 300, 400, 500 are totally capable. We're gonna do it at the 2 here now before we move back to the 450. Alrighty, red dot first, then we'll go to the 3x. Three for 5 with the dot. Okay, magnifier. Cool. So the magnifier obviously gives us that little bit of extra magnification on the target. Obviously it's a magnifier, and it allows us to PID, to positively ID the target that we're shooting at. When you get winds like this, it is nice to have those hash marks. So for this, we obviously can't put the scope cam on there. I'm giving it a top left shoulder hold to get a center hit, but it does dance around a little bit more than that 6-power magnification. So we'll move back to the 450 now, and we'll see if we can showcase a little bit more of the reticle versus the red dot. Let's do it. Start on the 1 to 6 here. This is where I feel like these LPVOs really do shine over the red dot. Can we hit at 500 with a red dot alone? Yes. Can we do it with a 3x magnifier? Absolutely. But the data that we receive from the reticle itself in here gives us a lot more to work with in terms of making wind calls and holds where we're not holding into space like we would with a red dot. So we're going to start with the 1 to 6, then the 1 to 8, and then we'll close it out with the red dot and the 3x magnifier. And we got the trigger cam on here to kind of showcase the benefits of having that Christmas tree built into the reticle. So we'll start on the 1 to 6. Let's get shooting. All right, guys, gunner, LPVO 1 to 6, 500 yards. Let's see what she's got. Cool. Move over to the E-type. Left edge hold. Oh. Cool. So that's the really cool thing about these is the speed of the follow-up shots. With all the information that these reticles offer, we're able to get a hold. Now, obviously, we'd like to have a dope card for this. We're just gripping and ripping today. It's a little bit of Kentucky windage. I know the holds. We're shooting 55 grain PMC, so I have data on that in the old noodle up here. Basically, what I'm able to do is place those hash marks where I want them. Now, we're not using like the dots in here yet because we don't have a strong enough crosswind, but I'm getting a left edge hold, which basically gives me a center crosshair to put on that left edge and get what seems to be center line hits. So cool, 1 to 6, 500 yards, absolutely. Let's switch over to the 1 to 8 and rock and roll. All right, guys, so we're going to take off the 1 to 6 and we're gonna throw on the 1 to 8. This is a good little metric for gunner to know is their return to zero good if we're swapping out our optics or we take it off and then put it back on. We should be pretty darn close to exactly where we were, so long as obviously the optic is back on the gun where it started. So these were both zeroed along with the red dot, and we're gonna kind of see if that's the case here out at the 500. Shouldn't be a problem. So, all right, guys, wind has picked up a little bit. We're looking at about a 12 to 15 swirler now. So, got the 1 to 8, got the trigger cam. Let's see if we can ping some steel. Oh. All right, move over to the E-type. Go. As that wind picks up a little bit, all we have to do is shift. And basically what I did was I put a dot, like a wind dot, on the target. And it just gives me like a point of reference of aim. And it's so much faster when we're doing that with that reference point than it is if we're just holding it into space, which we'll showcase right now. Now, we can't put the trigger cam onto the 3x magnifier, unfortunately, so I will have to talk you through where my hits and misses are. But let's swap out to the Vortex now with the 3x magnifier and see what it does. All right, guys, Vortex red dot with their 3x micro magnifier. We're gonna start with it just as is. So obviously red dot is what our focal length of vision is at 500. Kind of have to know what our holdovers are at these distances. Let's see what we can do with just a dot. Okay, let's move over to the E-type. Cool. Switch over, 3x magnifier. Okay, over to the E-type. Whoa, okay. You got John Wick shooting over there. Sorry about that. So, he did fairly well with just the red dot, honestly. I'm pleased with that. When I can get out to 500 and shoot with the dot, exclusive dot, no magnifier, and do that well, I'm pretty pleased with that. It's a 24-inch gong. And then switching over to the E-type, not too difficult. The issue that a lot of people run into is the information that a red dot offers you is only a single point of aiming reference. So capability wise, yes, absolutely. Dots all day. You can shoot them out to 600-700 meters if you absolutely had to with a 14.5 5.56. That LPVO just gives you a lot more information, especially on targets. Like, what am I trying to shoot at that distance? I can't really see what that intended target is here without the 3x magnifier, and even with that, gives me a general reference. Like, I can see it's a silhouette or a 24-inch gong. So totally capable. The LPVOs do give us a lot more of that information as we experience up that longer range shooting ladder. They become more handy, especially when it's windy. So awesome. Let's go close it out. All right, guys, so that concludes the Gunner Odin Series LPVO review. Pros and cons. We'll start with the cons because I only really have one, and that is the brightness level of the illuminator in this optic here. And when we get up to that closer range, we're pretty much just shooting a black dot in there, which makes it somewhat difficult if we're shooting on anything other than a white steel target. The pros about this scope, I think, really do match that price point. We have really clear glass, good light intake, so I don't feel like it's ever too dark for me. Big thing, I really like the reticle in these LPVOs. They give me something to bracket off of, as well as make wind calls, which we showcased out at the 400-yard line. And the throw lever, the ability to use this throw lever is very easy. It's very smooth. It's not real hard. I've had some in the past that were really difficult to kind of turn over without having the actual lever on there. My experience with LPVOs is everything from high-end night forces down to low end, you know, Dunham's Sporting Goods LPVOs. And at that $350 for the 1-6 and the $575 for the 1-8, I think you're hitting a really good LPVO market price point because the features that are included with the reticle and the optic itself. So durable, we did the drop test, held 0, and very clear vision out to that 500-yard line, close to it. So stay tuned. We got a ton of other videos coming your guys' way that review everything from pistols to rifles and everything in between. And before you go, check the link in the description box below. There is the USCCA Concealed Carry Map. It's a tool that I use all the time when we're traveling, and it lets you know where you have reciprocity for your concealed weapon license in any state in the country. So it gives you a whole list of things that you can and cannot have in the states that you're traveling to. Check it out. It is a great resource, and we'll see you next time. Regardless of that, holy moly, regardless of that, okay, come on, dude. Come on. We are not putting that in there.